everybody. This is Dwayne with my boy Jabari, and this is Just2Dadz, the podcast, episode number 3. Wow, episodes piling up, man.
Yeah, man.
We're getting to be pretty prolific at this thing. And you see, my partner Jabari continues to upgrade the studio. Now we have boom. What is he? Boomsticks.
Yeah.
We have boom sticks for the mics now, so hopefully the sound continues to get better. We want to continue to work on the sound, work on our presentation. We got lights. You see lights behind us, so we're getting things together. Jabari again, always doing wonderful work. Top tier dad stuff right there. So we're really excited about this episode. Something that I was glad that my partner was a little. He didn't realize he hadn't thought about it until I had brought it up to him. So I'm super excited to hear his thoughts, his feedback on this topic here. I know the last one was really geared towards our our sneakerheads, our fellow dad sneakerheads. All of the guys that did listen to it, appreciated that. The ladies not so much, at least not our wives. They didn't necessarily appreciate it, but the guys, we got it. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be a variety like that. We're not always gonna have topics that the ladies necessarily love. Hopefully they still appreciate. But this one I think would be a little bit closer to their heart and would maybe tug on a little strings a little bit.
Yeah.
So to get things started, like we've been trying to get a kind of menu going. So how was your week? It's now another week since we last hung out in this capacity. How's your week, bro?
Man, my week was good. We started off kind of cool. It was cold weather-wise, but then like in terms of work was busy. Work was working. Kids always sports. So it's busy weekend. We're actually recording this between my kids' days of sports and activities. So other than that, it's good, man. How about you? How was your week?
My week was terrible.
What?
All right, so it didn't start off terrible. So we had our tournament in Jacksonville. My son played the tournament in Jacksonville. They got beat up, but
Y'all were
whatever.
warm. Or did you stay warm out there?
It was freezing out there. But anyway, so that was all weekend. And Monday, I went to Disney for my daughter's dance performance, which was great. And then I had to come back because my son had another soccer thing on Monday night. Then by Tuesday, I started getting sick. And
What?
so by Tuesday night, Wednesday, I was out. So I think I got the flu. I think I probably had it on Monday, but I just didn't know yet. Tuesday started to get bad. Wednesday was terrible.
Didn't
Thursday.
I see you on Wednesday? I would not have known. Was it
No,
Wednesday
it
or
was Thursday. You saw me Thursday.
Okay,
And
okay.
Thursday was the first day I got back outside.
Oh my God! I
was
would not
like,
have known that, man.
Well, I try to be a tough guy. But so that was the first day I went outside. Wednesday I was a hot
Oh
mess.
wow!
But besides that, it was a good week for us. Definitely glad it's not as cold as it was. So
Yes.
it's supposed to go back down on Tuesday.
Yeah, I know, but I'm enjoying the heat for now.
For sure, I'm short sleeves all day, but that's
Mhm.
why we moved to Florida. So, but yeah, besides that, regular week. Hopefully next week is the end of the month for me. I'm in the auto industry outside of here, of course. So typically, it's a quiet week for me because the dealers are concerned about selling cars, hopefully, and not asking me silly questions. But we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
So hopefully next week I have a better report. I plan not to be sick next week, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not sick right now, though. So just
I know. I'm a little concerned when you said that. When you started off talking about being sick, I'm like, dude, like we could have shifted. this.
No,
But
you're
okay,
good. No,
all right.
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. So
grab some Lysol or something.
hey, I wouldn't even be offended because I wouldn't. Yeah. So yeah. All right. Got my meta glasses on today. So just
Future.
Yeah. No, I love it. So I'm learning to use it. I had some. I had the other lenses in here. They came with the polarized lenses, so I had to order some. These are the what's the one? The transition lenses now.
Okay.
So now I can wear it more often. So
Nice.
when you get older, you might lose your sight
Yes,
a little bit.
you will.
So this will help you. So like if I'm at a restaurant or whatever, you could tell it hey, and it will read it out to you.
So, but you don't. Do you do this when you go to the restaurant?
I don't normally have glasses. So I don't because I don't normally have glasses. So I normally just have to squint, or I'm with my phone with my light or whatever, and I'm magnifying it. But so it's good. I'm gonna check it out. I might do a little behind the scenes with it. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right,
Cool.
So let's get into it. Episode number 3. You wanna give us the title?
Yes. So the title of this episode is "Girl Dad."
Yeah.
Being a girl dad, since we're both girl dads, You're a multi.
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 I guess
girl
I would
dad.
be considered majority girl dad.
Yeah, you are a
I'm
majority
sixty
girl
six
dad.
point 6% girl dad
Wow.
right here, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority. I'm 33% girl
yeah.
dad.
Yeah, you're half as girl dad as me. Look at that, you know.
But yeah, we'll be talking about the intricacies of having a daughter.
Yeah.
Adjusting to having a daughter as a man, as a dad.
Right.
Learning things as you go through.
Right.
And then we'll just kind of talk about, I don't know, some things. So one thing I want to be clear is we're not psychologists.
I'm not, for sure.
We know there are different opinions out there.
Right.
And this is our opinion. So our experiences and what we'll share on having a girl and things we've seen, experiencing, being around women. And I just want to preface that in this episode.
Okay.
Because, some people are going to be like, oh, that's not true. I don't think that. I don't believe that. I'm a woman. I get it, right?
Right.
These are two dads.
Right.
Two different perspectives.
And I would hope that any other parent who has, well, if you're a parent, you have kids, but who would listen to us would understand that because you have kids, you know that it's not perfect and everybody's experience is going to be different. So they wouldn't take offense to anything anyway, unless I call you out by name.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying, then that's all I'm saying. But yeah.
And if you are easy to get offended, don't listen to this podcast.
For sure, because that's weird.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to go with the first question?
Yeah, I don't know. What was the first question?
I got it up because you see, I'm prepared
I'm
right
not
here.
as prepared here.
This was my topic, so I was super excited. All right. So let me see. What does it say?
Uh-oh.
It's all right. So it says, how has having a daughter changed your definition of what it means to be a strong man?
Strong man. Tough guy.
That's interesting. Okay. All right. So these questions, where did you come from? ChatGPT? Gemini. I'm sorry. ChatGPT's cousin, Gemini, came up with the question again. So I wanted to try to be.
Why'd you have to put that out there? First of all.
Well, first of all, first of all, there's nothing wrong with using technology, right? It's all about working smarter, not harder. So I have no issue with it, right? Because these are good questions. Some that I may have not thought of, right?
Yeah.
So I have no problem with it. So props to you for using technology.
Shout out to AI. Gen AI.
That's how we get
things.
them, right? All right. So sorry about that. See, I hit my thing and see my music started playing. Anyway, so how has having a daughter changed my definition of what it means to be a strong man? I'll start. Yeah, it hasn't changed my definition of what it means to be a strong man, because I guess I have to say what my definition of a strong man is. I think a strong man is somebody who is, of course, responsible for themselves, for their family. Somebody who is respectful, somebody who is upstanding in their community, and that's a positive impact and a positive role model to not just their kids, but other kids and people that they will come into contact with. So strength has to me at least in my brain, little to do with the muscles, and strength does not equate to loudness or being extra anything. It just is about that strength of presence and being a strong when it comes to presence, as far as like knowing that if I come to this person, they're going to give it to me straight. They're not going to they're not going to give me crap, or they're going to be honest with me and I can trust their words. So that type of strength is what I think of as a strong man. So me having daughters didn't change that at all for me.
I agree, but I think the twist, I think where the strong man in quotation sort of is targeted is probably like the disconnect of emotions, maybe, because I think traditionally, right, go way back when, I don't know, go to the 50s, the 60s, right?
That's
a
not
strong
that far,
man,
but okay. Go ahead.
A strong man was one that didn't show emotions, didn't cry, didn't do any things that were not manly.
But was he really strong though?
No,
because he might have been dying on the inside.
He was, right?
Okay,
but
we're
learning that. So I'm saying, I agree. But I'm saying, I think now the definition of a strong man includes those emotions, includes those expressions, and I think even for most men, I mean, I think it's a learned behavior. Because most men have to learn and have that accepted within their environment, to be comfortable with their daughter and their sons. But we're talking about daughters today, to be able to express and show, I can be strong in these things physically. I can be strong. Spiritually, whatever areas, right? But also I'm going to be able to be emotional with you and understand your emotions and not just be like, hey, talk to your mother.
Right. No, and I think that. Well, I think I give a lot of credit to my mom for that because, she had a big influence on the way that I try to approach parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
So she gave my brother and I, well, my sister because she's a girl, but if we're talking about dudes, she gave my brother and I the permission to have emotions from a young age. So I always grew up knowing that. I mean, my dad probably didn't love it a lot of times that I would cry, but I knew that it was okay for me to cry.
Stop crying.
Right. So I mean, even though I might have been told to stop crying, I knew that my mom told me it's okay for me to cry. If I need to cry, just cry anyway. So nice. I grew up with that, and I didn't think it was abnormal for me to do that. Of course, as I got out into the world, I figured out that everybody's dad or mom didn't necessarily tell them that, so they had to suck it up or whatever it is, and they, whatever sucks for them. But I always was encouraged to have emotions, so I do the same thing to my kids. I tell them, hey, you're going to have emotions. Those are natural things that you're supposed to have. They're not supposed to rule everything. We'll touch on that, I think, a little bit later.
Definitely gonna touch on that one.
But yeah, no, that's and the traditional strongman. I guess yes, I definitely feel what you're saying.
That's good though. That's good for you because your strongman definition really didn't have to change.
Right.
A girl dad,
that's what I'm saying.
Had that
right
as a part of what a strongman was.
Right. And again, it wasn't even necessarily from my dad's message. It was from what my mom just allowed us to be, even though we were boys, because it was just my brother and I for the longest time. And we had a bunch of girl cousins,
right? And
we had another younger cousin, but then it was primarily just us. But we were surrounded by women. I had 4 aunts, on my mom's side. My mom had no brothers, so it was a lot of women. We had to still be boys, but we also were able to experience and have that freedom to express ourselves in that way. So good for that. All right, what's the other one? The humble badge. Oh, this one's good. All right, so what was the first moment, whether it was wearing a tutu or getting a makeover, where you realized that your ego had no place in your relationship with your daughter?
This is so AI. So, just like you said with a strongman ego, my ego was always at the door because my key with my kids, my daughter, sons, is that involvement, right? Mm-hmm. So whether wearing a tutu or a tea party or whatever, that was not. I didn't have to put my ego aside for that because I'm like, I want to be involved and I want to. Also want some equity in that, right, too. Right. I didn't want to look like, well, I'm a boy, I'm a guy, I'm a man, I have 2 sons, so I'm going to only do the guy stuff.
Right.
And your mom can do the girl stuff. Right. I wanted her to understand that whatever it's going to be, I'll do it with you, or do it what you want to do,
right?
For that. So I don't feel like I had to check an ego at the door.
Right.
But I don't know how you feel about that.
Well, you already know my answer, or you probably have a good idea. So, yeah, I didn't have an ego. As far as that is concerned, when it comes to my kids, like you, I just want to be involved and I want to be accepted by them, and they're very tight, hierarchy when it comes to the social, their social categories. So kids are hard to break into, man. So I try to be as cool as possible with them, so they let me in. So if that means my daughter has to give me a ponytail with she taped the. What's that thing called? The clip, the hair clip. Mm-hmm. She taped a ponytail on a hair clip and then taped the thing onto my scalp.
Okay, because there wasn't not even a.
Well, I mean, I've had this hairstyle for quite some time. My wife and I have been married almost 16 years. She has never seen me with hair, so my daughter certainly has never seen me with hair. So she taped that on there. So yeah, I never took myself that seriously, I guess, to feel like I couldn't be silly for my kids, whether it be my daughter or my son, and I guess because I was a young dad too, because I had my eldest is 24, so I had her when I was 23. Yeah, I don't know what the heck I was doing, man. We figured this thing out together, me and you. We on the bus, we not on the bus. We figured, I got, so I never had a chance to get an ego, I guess,
So did that prepare you though for then your second daughter?
Oh yeah,
quite a while later.
Yeah, and of course I'm way more mature at that point, right? So for me, once I had my eldest, it wasn't that the other ones were easier. It's just that I knew what to expect. So it wasn't like, oh my God, like the first time, when my daughter was born, my eldest, that was the only time I cried. Because I was like, I never experienced anything like that in my entire life before. This is and this is something that, like your first time ever to get to experience that happening, like birth.
Right.
It was like overwhelming. Where
Right.
I was like, wow, this is something that I actually created.
Yeah. A new
Whoa,
human.
what a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want to break them or whatever. So I didn't have a chance to get an ego. I didn't have a career or something. I was like, oh well, I'm the CEO. Blah blah blah. This is my first kid, and blah, blah, blah. I didn't have that. I was a 23-year-old broke kid just trying to figure life out as I went, and I also just had a child. So,
Yeah.
so we were just growing up together. So I thank her a lot for teaching me how to get over things. If I did have any little bit of ego, she taught me how to get over it because she needed to get stuff done. So
No, so I think for me, so you had the girl first,
Right.
which was like you knew kind of how to formulate these sort of things. I wouldn't say like for me, I had the boy and then another boy,
right,
and then years later,
right.
And so I guess when having the girl
Mhm.
last, I didn't think I wasn't thinking. I think at the time like this is gonna be different, and so I kind of just went in with like
It'd be the
another
same,
boy.
like it'd be another baby.
And, yeah, and we'll touch on that. But I think there are differences.
Right.
I can just say
God, yeah.
that girls are also smarter than boys. We'll
Well-
go down
well,
that road.
I would say they catch on quicker.
They catch on quicker,
Right.
and they know. Yeah. I'll just. There is a point though. We'll touch on like emotion. There's some
Mhm.
emotional
Yeah, for
thing
sure.
there.
For sure.
But yeah, I definitely caught that. They catch on quicker, and just things like that. Just making sure you are willing to do the things that they want to do. Because I know a lot of people, like I said, kind of like that strong man thing, like way back when,
What?
dads with their girls
Yeah.
doing things that they want to
Yeah.
do.
Well,
just wasn't a thing.
if we're being honest, dads didn't do much with either boys or girls. if I mean,
no, yeah, I guess that's
dad,
true.
and so I tell you, I try not to hold the old school dads. Listen, you got what you got from your parents, and you did the best what you had with what you got.
Right.
Right. Our job now is to do the best that we got. We took what we got, maximize it, which is what I think most dads that I know of my generation are doing an incredible job.
See, that's where I was like you were talking about your mom and like sort of having that emotional intelligence. I was really fortunate because my parents were super progressive already there.
Yeah.
Like my dad was always involved in
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
And and my mom, right? So
Right.
it was like it wasn't uneasy, unnatural. Though I had friends
Right.
that I saw,
Right.
it was totally not
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
So I knew even as a kid, I'm like, my parents are a little different
Right.
because some of these people, some of my friends are not.
I
Their
didn't
parents are not.
I didn't
like,
even know you had parents. I thought you just a parent.
So and they want to do dad things that that was never a barrier. So I feel like for sure that had a huge impact on me because it didn't seem unnatural to be able to do those sort of things.
Right. Yeah.
But you're right though, from a society standpoint, a grand scheme,
Mm-hmm.
we're just going into that sort of. I think the millennial generation. I feel like it's just kind of.
But I
Something
think
that
that,
way.
but your situation is rare though. For your dad to
Oh,
have been
yeah.
involved like that back in the day, like that. So he was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
Clearly. Because for me, not that my dad was not involved. He was just more of a traditional,
Mhm.
provider type or whatever, and he did what he did.
Right. Right.
I went and I just looked at it and I took what he gave and try to see how can I make it a little bit better. I think about that constantly. Like, okay, if I was here, what would I do? And if I had an opportunity to do that, how would I do it different? So, it's all part of learning. So, all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of learning, the other one kind of talks into that a little bit. Breaking the cycle. In which ways are you trying to be a different kind of father than? Oh wow, right on tag. The one
Yeah.
you grew up with. Da 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 da. So we already started with that, right? I think we are both actively on purpose active dads with all of our kids, but of course we're talking about the girls
Mm-hmm.
in particular right now. Well, for me at least, because I guess I had a daughter first.
Mm-hmm.
it was not a problem for me to be active because I only had the one child, so I didn't know the difference, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I just want to support her and whatever she wants to do. So again, she gave me that ability to try that, to figure out how that looks and
Mm-hmm.
how that feels or whatever. So as far as, so I didn't have a cycle to break, thankfully. You know, even when I think about my dad or whatever, he would not necessarily, he might not have came to all the events.
Right.
You
Right.
pay for him though.
Right.
You pay for him.
Right.
You support him. He make sure that you're good. He may have to work though, right? So that's the biggest difference of the cycle, quote unquote, breaking.
Yeah.
But you know,
That direct involvement, like
yeah,
being
that
right
direct
there at
that
all
direct
times.
involvement, you know,
Mhm.
because again, that I think for him, you know, then I don't. This is not a rag on him. I love him.
No,
I
we
love him.
know.
I'm just using as a reference point
Right,
since we're
right.
talking about, you know, breaking a cycle or whatever. I just think for him, everybody's, you know, like his tolerance of, he has a little bit less patience with
Mhm.
kids and all that type
Mhm.
of stuff than I would, right?
Right.
And that's fine. That's, everybody's different, right? So
Right.
he can't deal with it on that level, and even to this day, right?
Right.
So you know, my mom is different. Everybody's different.
Right.
So I give him grace on that. He did the best that he could. He continues to try to make strides. You know,
Mhm.
it is old age, so he's getting better. So my
Kudos
job
to
is,
Dad for doing
kudos
that
to
too.
him, man.
Because
You know,
you don't have to do that. Though.
He
You know,
don't.
you get to a certain age,
he
you're
don't.
like,
He don't.
yeah, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
where I'm at, and
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't have
Yeah.
to do that. So I think, you know, like I said, everything that I know about you, I know that that's. But again, based on your experience, it
Right,
makes
right,
sense, right?
right.
So you didn't have to break a cycle.
right,
You
right,
was just continuing.
and that's where I was going to lead into. So for me, it's not necessarily maybe breaking that cycle, but continuing that cycle for my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and setting that example for the girl is, oh boy, we're gonna get heavy in here. So
Get heavy, man. Get heavy.
it's
You ain't
gonna
got nothing
who
to do.
she's gonna marry, right?
Okay.
Who you know, her approach to relationships
Right.
will be based on some of the behaviors that we present.
Right. This is true. This is true.
So if you want that old school guy, traditional guy, you're just not gonna see it.
Right.
So it will, to me, it will be out of the norm if you kind of look for that or have that expectation.
Well, what would be like when you say a traditional guy? What?
So that strong man we were mentioning.
Oh,
like
okay,
looking
where
for
he
someone
just pay for the bills.
yeah, he just
and
pay
that-
for the bills
it.
and that's it. Or and you should be able to see that. Hopefully, you will see that behavior before having a kid.
But I think if you meet his parents though,
yeah, that should tell you something right there.
you meet his dad. If his dad act like that, how is
Right.
his parents? How did they react or interact with each other?
Right.
That's important stuff.
And how they, when you know, if they become parents, our kids, how they would interact with their kids.
Right, and that, I think that is a direct reflection on how we interact with them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why I know I tell you all the time, I go out of my way to try to be as communicative with my kids as I can be.
Right.
You know, and I speaking of the daughters, like, you know, Ryan had a situation yesterday where she had an issue with her mom telling her something, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sat to sit her down. I'm like, listen, all right, because she was upset. I said, okay, I give you a minute. Go ahead and cry that out. Go ahead and cry. Cry as loud as you have to. Now that you've done it, now that you've cried, you've expressed you're very upset.
Right.
I get it. Okay. Now I want you to stop, and I want you to think about what it is you're asked to do. Because she was asked to do something like, you know, go
Something
do
basic.
anything, something not
that she wanted
well
to do
within her realm,
at that
right?
moment.
Well within her capabilities,
Yeah,
right? Not
yeah.
a hard request at all by
Right.
her mom, but her mom kept having to ask her.
Right.
Now, of course, after a certain amount of time, you had a long day at work. She's tired, whatever, right? So
Right.
you get yelled at. Now your feelings hurt,
Mhm.
right? So I had to bring her back. I said, "Come sit with me, right? Let's talk about it."
See, even that right there, there was even the talking,
yeah,
and
yeah.
explaining.
There's no
That was
talking to kids.
no
You don't
talking.
talk to no kids, man. What are you
No,
doing?
no, you don't.
Well,
Yeah.
you don't talk to no kids. Kids do what you tell them.
Right. Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I never, kind of that's how it was, but I never wanted it to be like that because I remember how it felt
Yeah.
to be that kid,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had to sit her down and I was like, listen. And I went 2 steps. I said, you tell me what the rules are. And she told me what the rules are. I said, okay, now did you do that? No. I said, okay, then why are you mad? I said, tell me what the other thing is. And so when you tell me,
Yeah.
that means that you know what the rules are and that you willfully broke the rules,
Right.
got in trouble based on your decisions. You're upset because you got caught. But everything that happened right here, you had control over. Once you have that conversation, now, well, what are we doing? Now you have to make better decisions, right? And I try to I try to talk to her and and talk to them about stuff like that so that we can have a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can. What I hope is that they would come to me when there is a bigger issue, when
Right.
they do get older and they
Right.
do face actual real stuff, not just mom telling them to do something and they're mad about it.
Right.
So that is why I try to communicate in that way with them. So um, yeah, what's that? All right, so I don't know. Did you have more on that topic?
No, no, no. I think a lot of I'm trying to see going forward. Like, yeah, the next thing that was we're going with is the blueprint.
Mhm.
If your daughter uses your behavior as the standard for
Mhm.
how men should treat her,
Mhm.
what are the three most important traits you want her to
That's
model?
you first. You go first. I gotta think about that one.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's yours. It's your baby right
Oh
here.
my goodness. Use as a behavior standard from you know, respect is always up
Right.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. For
I mean,
sure.
how can you not have respect at the top?
For sure.
You've gotta have someone who respects you.
Right.
I think you have to have someone. A trait is willingness to learn
Mm-hmm.
because even today, kids think parents may have all the answers. As they get older, then they start thinking you have none
Right.
of the answers.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
but understanding that in whatever relationship you do have,
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to know everything. You're not going to know everything. But you both have to be willing to learn.
Mm-hmm.
If he's unwilling to learn and get better, he's good where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's capped out and he may have to move on.
Right.
And I think the last thing, gosh, sense of humor.
Yeah.
You can be. It's not about. You can be pragmatic, right?
Mhm.
Glass half full, glass
Mhm.
half empty.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look at the situation, whatever situation you're in, whatever relationship you're in. If you can't find happiness, funniness, happiness,
Mm-hmm. Right.
and
Joy.
that's
Right.
perfect. That's
Right.
the perfect
Yeah, yeah.
descriptor. Is joy.
Yeah.
Then it's probably not the right
Right.
situation because ultimately so much is going to happen in life if
Yeah.
you've got to find the comedy in some of
Yeah.
it or you will be a depressed angry individual.
Right. Yeah. Might be pretty overweight too. Just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because carrying all that burden.
Yeah.
man,
Well, you gonna eat your feelings.
end up
So
carrying
yeah.
the weight.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I echo that. As far as the standard, I guess my 24-year-old, she thankfully she does trust me enough to call me relatively often with her
Mhm.
things or whatever, and I share with her and her boyfriend as openly as I can. They're both my peeps, love them both.
Right.
But yeah, I would hope that my example of, unfortunately, my first daughter didn't get to live with me as much
Right,
as
right.
I would like for her to live with me because she was with her mom. So what I hope my youngest sees
Mhm.
is my relationship primarily with her mom, and
Mhm.
how, we're not perfect, so we're gonna have arguments. But
Right.
how do we go past that? How
Right.
do we
Exactly.
how do we resolve our conflicts and still be a unit?
Right.
Like I could be saying one thing and we could be upset about whatever.
Mhm.
We might get loud with it,
Right.
but it's never going to be any disrespect. I'm never going to call her mom out her name. I'm not going
Mhm.
to cuss her out or do anything disrespectful because I never wanted to think that that's acceptable. One thing I never try to do as well with her is I put my hands on her.
Right.
As much as sometimes we want, ooh, oh my God. Listen, because listen, my baby is she's very smart
Yeah.
and she
yeah.
knows it,
Mhm.
but she's also very cute,
Mhm.
right? And she knows that too, and she knows her dad loves her, but oh my God, she will push you, right? She'll push you, right? But I have to remember that this is my baby, and I don't want anything to hurt her, and I don't want her to think that it's okay for dudes to put their hands on women, right?
Yeah.
So as mad as I would like to be, I just put myself in timeout.
Well,
Right.
I definitely wouldn't put my hands on there. But
Right,
the belt,
because right.
Does the belt count as hands?
No, I don't put no corporal punishment, not from daddy. I can't speak for mom. Daddy would not be raising any no weapon is going to be formed against you from dad's point of. Because again, I never want you to think that any man has the right to come at you, right? I also want to teach her not to come at anybody crazy either, right? So that's also a big thing, right? Like having her understand that how you interact with people also matters.
Right.
And how you
right.
behave also
That's a
matters.
good
So
point.
that how you treat your brother matters. How you talk
Mhm.
to your mom matters. How you talk to me matter. How you conduct yourself in the house. All of these things matter.
And
know,
outside
so that,
the house is a big
well,
one.
well, yeah, well, you got to start here first. So
Yeah,
if I
right,
see
right.
you are absolute trash here, I'll know you're not ready yet,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So we start with that. So I mean, just her seeing again respect for yeah. I'm sorry, but that's my camera. Sorry about that, people. That's just real life stuff. But anyway, so respect for the mom again, showing that to her, and then of course everything else that I mentioned before. So what else? So was that three? Did I have two or three?
No,
That
you
was
had
two.
three. That was three.
Yeah. All right. So what's the next one? Confidence. I don't think they have an issue with this. None of our daughters have an issue with this. But confidence building. How do you balance the instinct to protect her from the world with the need to empower her to handle her own stuff?
Oh,
Oh, that's a good one.
that's a tough.
That's a heavy one.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think it's important to allow the girls or all the kids, but simply focusing on the ladies, to be able to express themselves as freely as possible without being too disrespectful, right? And again, that starts from the home, and that starts from them being able to have a voice and to say, hey, you know what, there's something that is going on in the house. You should be able to have an opinion. You live here every single day, of course. The ultimate decision is still my wife and I's, but if you're here and it's going to affect you, I think you should be able to say something about it, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I think even if kids don't get what they want, their ability or the knowledge that they have that they can express themselves and not necessarily be a disqualified, they got to get kicked out of the house or something. I think that helps build their confidence. Now, when it does happen, because of course now we've been doing this great job, you and I have, and our wives have. Now our daughters never stop, right? I know mine doesn't, right? She never stops. Now she's confident as heck. Now she comes up and does and says how she feels when she feels it. I don't live in this house, but I've seen your daughter, and she doesn't mince her words. You know, she says what she feels
Yeah,
on
yeah.
her mind. And she's not even they're not double digits yet.
Right. As long as I'm cool with that in the house. Now you gotta understand outside the house, it has to be framed in a certain way because everyone's not gonna give you this confidence or care you have any confidence, right?
Right.
So I know we haven't gotten, but to that world part, oh boy, that's why I grimace a little bit because the world is ugly.
Well, this is the thing, right? I feel like
and
it's okay because they have to have that much. They have to have that grit. It might be extra. It's extra for me. It's too much for me, right? Because I'm not the world. But when she gets out there, it's gonna be enough because they're gonna be dealing with all kind of stuff.
I think it is tough. So like, in the house you can insulate a behavior.
Yeah.
But outside of the house, in school or amongst friends or wherever they are, that same behavior may not even be accepted, right?
Right.
So it is a balance. But so how I feel it normally happens is usually they get that aha moment happens outside the house or somewhere. Like, clearly I can do this in my house, or I can say these things in my house, but I cannot do this outside. It happens, right? And that's good because it gets them. That's why if you unfortunately, if you have the kids cooped up away from society, away from these conversations outside, you have to then, I guess, if you live in that area, you have to intentionally put them in these sort of situations because as they get older, it's only going to get more diverse or more whatever code switching, things have to occur. But that outside world is tough. Keeping them protected. That the reality is like the world is dangerous.
Yes.
In my opinion, this is me again. I'm not more dangerous for women.
Right. Yeah.
Even more dangerous for black women.
I find no lies in what you say, but go ahead. Yeah.
So it's a tough way to navigate that, and I don't even know if we want to dive into why. Why do I say it's more dangerous even for black women?
Sir,
right?
This is your show. You say whatever you want.
I mean. So there's that layer of just being a woman, right? There's certain dangers that men may not have, and
it's not may. We definitely don't.
We don't have it. The predatory behavior, society, just the environment. Yep. That's why we have to be more intentional with our daughters, protecting them physically, and even mentally from those attacks that come from other boys, other whatever, right? It's just a different society. But as a black woman, black girl, then there's that extra layer. Yeah. The judgment, the racism, the stereotypes. Yeah. The just just that, being who you are, your hairstyle, how you look, how you dress, what's accepted in one part of society as opposed to another part of society, in the black culture versus white culture. So there's that additional layer, and
but I think, but that's true. But I think it goes back to what we spoke to before, which is that having that relationship with us is why that's important. So when they have those situations where they're forced to confront those issues, that's when you have your dad. That's when you have your mom. That's when you have your, because you're gonna, I want to always be a safe place for my kids. I never want them to feel like they can't come to me with anything. I want them to feel like I might be mad. I'll never lie to you and say that I'm not going to be mad. I probably might be mad, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be mad where I'm not going to not love you no more. I'm not going to not care about what happens to you.
And push you away.
And then strictly be, because that's, no. You're half me, bruh.
Yeah.
Like I can't hate me that much, you know what I mean? So that's where I think that is important, where they are going to face these things. They are going to have these moments and these times where all that's going to be in their face, and that's where we would come in, and everything that we've been talking about before is going to play a big part, where we are still able to give them confidence, and we are still able to reinforce the good things about themselves when everybody else tells them.
Yeah, so, right.
So I think it's one big package. So it's not it's a work in progress.
It is, and these are young humans, little humans that are going to become old humans like us.
Right.
And so, I mean, our job is really to prepare them to become the humans, be able to take care of yourself, being able to treat others with respect. I mean, that to me is the goal. I know some it could be monetary things, whatever. It's really, but these are the things that's going to get them
because
integrated into society and independent people, right? That's
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this next one here talks about brave over perfect. So how do you encourage her to take risks and fail in a society that often pressures girls to be perfect? I don't think it's just necessarily relegated just to girls. I think that I think that everything now is microwave, almost. So because everything is recorded, everything is sensationalized. It's like, okay, all you have to do is this. Right. And everybody looks at the end result. So nobody looks at the process of getting there. And I think, again, it goes back to what your foundation is. What have you been taught about success? What does success look like? Do both your parents work? What kind of jobs do they have? Do they go to work every single day? Because, again, kids learn by what they see, their environment that they go. So if every single day mom and dad has to go to work, and they see that they have to work or whatever, whether it be, my wife and I, we both work from home, but, my kids know if that door is closed, your kids know this door is closed, daddy's at work. He's in the house, but he's at work. You're not going to disturb him. We're not playing any games. And I think by having that understanding, and I think also that's why sports are important, or being involved in some kind of activity where they have to depend, or other people are depending on them to come to achieve a goal. Yeah. All of those things help, because you're going to fail.
Yep.
Right? You're going to fail at that. You're not going to be good at it. You're going to get beat down. There are going to be people that are way better than you in whatever it is that you're doing. So that, to me, is a big, huge part of why I am.
And how do you come out of that, right? Because you can fail and stay in that failure, or how do you grow out of that failure?
But I think that's why team sports are so important, because there are times when your teammates may have to pull you out of it. Times where you might have to be the teammate to pull somebody else out of it. So it's easier to do that in a team environment, because, again, everybody's working towards one big goal together. Y'all are both in training together. Y'all are all in training together or whatever. So I think that definitely helps. So as far as I would say is, if my kids were being involved in something, again, that is on purpose, so that they develop, again, what you spoke about earlier. How do they interact with people from different backgrounds? How do you deal with difficult people?
Right.
Because youth sports teaches, because you have to interact with all kind of people, right? From all different walks of life and backgrounds, right? Different political values, right? So you have to do that, and the same thing with going to school, right? You have to do it. Because you're going to have to learn these things. So that's why it's important. to go through these struggles, and again to have your dad or your mom as a backup. As you go through those struggles, is definitely should help with that brave over perfect thing.
And I think you should.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were saying you have to, but you should, because we know there's people that are out in society that don't do these things.
As far as what?
Being able to work with diverse groups of people, being able to, there is a downside where you can forcibly try and avoid that and have those bad relationships.
Yeah. But those type of individuals, their success is normally short lived and it is normally short sighted. So it's your life. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's not what I would recommend.
No, I agree. One thing about, I know you mentioned in the question about girls being perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a pressure of being a woman in this society. Right?
But I think when you say perfect, it's probably speaking strictly aesthetically.
Well, physically.
Well, that's aesthetics for me. I'm not
right.
Not
but not just. I think physically is one aspect, but I think emotionally as well. And I think there's an expectation on girls. First of all, I want to go against a lot of these norms. I think the requirement of wearing makeup, like certain things, and dressing a certain kind of a way. I don't think there has to be a societal norm on some of these things, or a pressure, I should say, more than anything. I think that pressure is breaking, or maybe it's a wider range now on the spectrum. But I do think there is quite a pressure on girls to look a certain kind of a way to fit in. And it's more or less, because boys, I am a boy. I'm a man, right? And there was no aesthetic pressure on me ever. Like, the thing is
you didn't have dreads, though.
But I'm saying for a boy, as you go, what?
You never tried to have dreads before. That's.
I could have in the back of my head.
I'm just saying. I'm saying like when you were younger, right?
But for men in this society and for the longest, right? You just go as is. There's not really not saying you couldn't wear makeup, you can't do this, you can't do that. Some people do that, but the norm is that guys can come as you are, right? Be whatever you are, however you look, physically, whatever. Right. Women, there's always been an unreasonable expectation. Right. Always. Whether it's their size, their shape, their clothing.
But that came from the patriarchal society that decided how it was going to
run. No, we're still in it though.
Yeah. We're still in it. So that's where it is. It's not. It was never right.
Right. But what I'm getting at is that is a role for dads.
Right.
And parents that have to play with on their daughters that I think still strongly exists today to look a certain way or be a certain shape, certain size, have your hair a certain kind of a way, that to me that fits into that perfect sort of thing, right? Girls aren't messy. Girls can't do this. Girls can't. It's like you are human, right? And you are human, and I don't want. I hate the fact that as a girl she could be like, well, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to worry about that. He doesn't have to, and it's unfortunate, but it's true. It's true. How do we navigate now the way you want to navigate around that? Because you don't have to do those requirements.
Right. But I think that is true for at least for the society that we live in right now. That is it's not an equal system, and it is different tiers or whatever. So, but that's where we come in as parents and how we raise our boys.
Yeah.
Right, because we're not going to be here forever. The boys that are their age are the ones that they're talking about. Right, they're not talking about us.
Yeah.
Right. So it's our responsibility as parents of boys and the boy dads or girls or whatever, that they raise good boys, and we raise men that understand that women are not necessarily just objects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We touch on it, whatever. But I think that's where it really, really stems from. Unfortunately, women will continue to make strides, and it will continue to force the hand of the ones who don't want to understand that what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
But until boys are raised better, I think it's going to be a slow grind.
Yeah. And what's funny about this is we talked about some of the norms that have shifted in certain areas. but I feel like social media kind of accelerated that same patriarchal norm in some ways for girls because you know, I'm not a psychologist. I don't have all the numbers in front, but I have seen, you know, studies where mental health is big, and on as a drag as a result of social media for women and for girls of a certain age. You know, they see what's popular, they see how they should look or act or whatever, and it becomes. So for us as dads, yes, we need for those that have sons. Making sure your sons understand that they're, like you said, not objects, not all these things, but also, you know, loosening up on some of the norms on some of these. You know, I want our kids, boys, girls, whatever, to ask those why questions. Right. We've touched on this in personal conversations where things would exist, and then you would say, why? Right. Well, why are we doing this?
Exactly. Like, doesn't make any sense. Why are we here again? Nobody stopped to ask.
Right. And I love that because that, I think, is a big generational. That was the breakdown over generations. I'll say that is as kids were asking parents why, and parents were either saying, I'm not going to answer you. Because I said so. Yeah. And I'm saying that mostly because I don't know why. Right. But this is a tradition I'm going to follow.
Right. Exactly. And it's easier to follow traditions than to try to find out what's the real answer. Well, you know, that's the good part. But yeah, so I think that well, you know, the whole being perfect thing, it's definitely is tropes of, you know, the whole patriarchal society thing, and also to who owns the platforms, right? So they're gonna push their message in, and they're gonna push what they want to push, because you could try to post as much as you want. If they're gonna block you, they're gonna block you, right? So, and they don't care. So that's unfortunately, but again, that requires us as parents to be more involved and to ask questions. So like I mess with my baby all the time, be like, why are you watching that girl? Right. What is she doing? Right. You know, do you like if I see you watching something, I'm gonna ask you about it. And if you can't tell me about it, you probably shouldn't watch it. Right. And we have to be able to have that conversation. Sometimes you're not gonna like it. Sometimes we will agree and we can laugh about it. But you know, having that conversation, and I think too, just not treating girls, but of course kids, like they're not people. Yeah. You know, and not treating them like, well, it's because you're a kid, you don't know. No, you still have, you got a brain, you know, you're half me, so you know, you definitely are not, you're not dumb. Right. So so you can definitely have your opinions and your thoughts on that. We could talk on that. All right, YouTube University. What is one of the traditionally feminine skills that you had to work the hardest to master? This one for me is real easy. I didn't have to learn any. I guess what is a traditionally feminine skill that I have is cooking. I learned that from my mom. Oh man. But I do that for everybody, so it's not like a thing. But I to this day, I will tell you, I'll look right in the camera. I don't do hair. Right?
Oh man, you took mine.
I don't do hair. Okay. My daughter, my oldest one, my wife, my baby. Y'all know I've said this to y'all multiple times. If you want me to do your hair, you don't want me to be involved in it, right? That's one. I will gladly take you to a hair appointment, right? I will, whatever. We'll get all the stuff, but I'm not doing it because you don't want me to be there. Because I have brushed. Yeah, I have brushed hair back before.
I've attempted.
You know, but yeah, no. Like like there's some dudes that are real extra with it.
Yes. They listen. I'm right there with you, and I know somewhere in the podcast. On YouTube, wherever we're posted, my wife's eyes are laser focused on me, burning a hole in my face because she's told me many times I need to learn how to do hair.
Why?
So I have many stories. I could go on many stories. Unfortunately for Naya, like her mom would go on a business trip, vacation. I'm like,
that hair better be done. Boy. The hair, listen. The hair
I've tried to swoop it and change it. She's like, you need to tie it. You got to do 12. I'm like, and it's like, is there something? It's like a disconnect. Like, you know, I've done a lot. Yeah. But there's some disconnect between
I'm not doing no hair, bro.
And hair. Like, I can't master it. I can't.
You see my hair, so. I said I could do this. I could hook this up. I could hook that up all day. But
I've tried. I did learn how to do a ponytail somewhat. Somewhat,
yeah,
you know,
you just like the simple brown. I could. It's gonna look terrible.
It's gonna look terrible.
So I didn't know if that counted. Is that a skill?
I don't know if we tried. We tried to make it a skill. I
I don't- 'cause
apologize to Naya, my daughter out there.
Don't worry.
There's been times she's been sent to school and that ponytail was shifted all over her head because I couldn't get it.
Guess what? She got into school on time. Okay, she wasn't dirty. She wasn't hungry.
Yeah, not ashy. Have some lotion, knees
She
lotion.
was well fed.
But the hair. But as soon as you got up here,
guess what? You tell them judge their
put
mom,
a hat
man.
on. Put a hat on.
Hey, whatever. Talk about it.
It's too much.
We'll fix it later.
Too much.
We'll edit it in post. All right. What is sideline experience? What is the most rewarding part of supporting your daughter or daughters in specific interests, whether that's a sport, hobby, or creative passion?
I mean, we kind of touched on this a little bit. I mean, for me, it's just whether it's my daughter, any kid, but for my daughter, it's just knowing that your dad, who's not a girl, is involved in something, an activity for you as a girl, right? So, like we touched on in the past, like, you know, mom would be handling that or going to that or whatever. Dad would be somewhere else with the boys or dad's doing something. And so for me, it's just knowing that whatever she's doing, whether it's a sport or whatever, I'm there supporting her 100%, and she's happy that I'm there to support her.
Same. So, like I said, my baby does dance, so I missed the first performance. She was not happy with me at all, but
they'll let you know.
Yes, no, she told me. She's like, so you coming? Yeah. So I was like, yes, ma'am, I'll be there. It was a tough go because I had a very long day that day, and right after I was sick, but I made it.
You know they don't care.
I listen. I would do it again. Just so that she could be, just so that she could know that, hey, I don't have to understand it all the time, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be my thing. You are my thing,
right?
So if you like it, I love it, right?
Right.
I don't have to love the intricacies of the dance moves,
right?
I can have my opinions on who says what is hip hop dance,
right?
Whatever, right? Whatever, right? But
yeah,
I could have my feelings on it. But if you guess what, if you were to call it Congo dancing, I'm out there.
Right. You support.
You know, I'm there regardless. So you know that's what I would. That's what I do. I when my eldest, she actually lived in Canada for a little while, so I flew to Canada to see her when she was graduating from middle school or whatever. So I try to be supportive as they develop. You know. And right now, my support with my eldest is just really just, you know, kind of coaching,
right?
You know, listening, counseling, being, you know, available at random moments when she has her questions, and that's the sideline support I do with her now. For my youngest, of course, it's a lot simpler.
Right.
You know, she could just go to the event and be happy and be glad that I was there and take pictures and get, you know, like, you know, flowers or whatever. So that's that.
But you know, one thing I do want to call out, because we're not going to probably touch on it, but before we get to, I think the last question is, there is one big difference I will say between being a girl dad and having boys.
Yeah.
Emotional intelligence is a lot different. And I know we touched on girls catching on a lot quicker, but also girls expressing emotion. They have a much wider range of emotions, I feel like. And their reaction to things is more emotional, maybe, or at least they express it. Not to say that boys don't have these emotions; they don't. It's just not as expressed.
Yeah.
So, like, having that connection and that fine line is to, again, you know, this is my opinion, but you know, for women, because typically men are a little more analytical,
right?
Or like, I'm going to do this knowing, like, I don't care. I'm doing it my way, right? Whether it's wrong, right, whatever. Women typically have, when they're analytical, emotion is a part of that, in my opinion.
Right.
So emotions have a lot to formulate opinions, plans, ideas, and emotion can disrupt those very easily.
Right. Very much
Somewhere my wife is going to be like, where are you going with this?
Right.
So,
you know, her emotions getting high, but go ahead.
Emotions getting high, and I apologize. Now, I'll be suffering for this after this podcast.
She'll be all right, man. She's a nice lady.
But what I do want is for my future girl dad daughter, is that she can find that balance of emotion and analytical behavior.
Good luck.
Don't have that emotion drive. So emotion is good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But too much emotion can drive decisions that make no sense, right? And then it leads you into just emotional reactions.
Right. And
I want you to make decisions, not reactions.
Right. So, all right. So, well, since I'm all right, I'll try to answer this as best as I can. I don't know if that will happen.
Oh,
and
man,
but it's not. I don't
painful.
take it as a negative though, because
Okay,
again, I think
okay.
about, and this is again no offense to any wives or ladies that I know. I think about the ladies that I know, my sister, my sister-in-law, my wife, people that I work with, different colleagues, friends that I have. They're all emotional still. They're all grown-ups. They're very emotional, and this is what's even more. This is what's more important. They're all extremely intelligent,
Right.
highly educated, multi-degree, right? And still,
Emotional.
there's still that emotion, right? So that's why I said I don't know if that. I think the emotion is important for ladies to have.
Yes,
It's
100%.
important, right? So there is never, probably ever, going to be a point where you can really say that she will be like to the point where you're like, yeah, she's more because she's always gonna be a lady.
Right. I just
so like
you just gotta tread that line of that danger of
but that's why I think
too
again,
much.
So I'll use my daughter as an example. She is very emotional.
Right.
My oldest, they all are, but
She watching.
I'm talking about my oldest one in particular, right? So very emotional, right?
Right.
And she is again honest enough with me that she will tell me that she's emotional.
Right.
But what she will also do is call me. Right. So if you could, I understand you're gonna be emotional, right?
Right.
You're gonna get there. But if you also know that, hey, while I'm emotional, let me call my dad.
Right.
And though I may not agree with what he says, he's gonna give me. So if I give you something during that emotion, you may make a different decision. Right. The decision is gonna be yours ultimately, but hopefully by reaching out to me or speaking to me, I could give you something of substance.
Right.
Because again, she can't come to her mom with it because women are too similar.
It's a lot of emotions coming to a clash. There are two emotions, and the emotional
queens,
decisions are being made within.
Two queens, coming at it that way. It's not a good look, right?
But you know something you hit on though is right. So express, even if you put it in this manner, right? Express your emotions, right? Which is good. Let it out. My only fear is that at that point, let it out. And then after you've done that, then come to a conclusion.
But that comes with practice, though.
Yeah, right. But I just too often the emotions come and then the decision is creeping in that.
Because all right, so
there's an emotional decision that is usually irrational, ladies.
Right, because
just letting you know.
Because they weren't taught how to do it. They didn't set the next step.
Right,
They didn't learn any of the steps. So if you don't know the steps, you don't know what comes after the emotion, right? After the emotion comes, okay, now that I'm not, because I told my daughter all the time, I say, you know how hard it is to be mad? You know how much energy
a lot of energy. Whew,
that drains you. It takes way more energy to be mad. So I don't care how mad you think you can be mad for 5 minutes. You can't do it.
Do women have twice as much energy as men?
As far as what?
Get mad.
No, I think that women, one of the things that I love about women is that they are very, very they're much different than we are, first of all.
Oh yeah.
And I say they're stronger than we are. Because we don't have to give birth, so that's fine.
That's a whole nother.
Right, that's one thing. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
Not going to argue.
Our muscles are bigger. Yes, we have. That's just testosterone. That's a luck of the draw thing, right? But they are definitely stronger. So with that strength, again, I feel like that there's a reason that they have it. Because again, I would want my mom to be as emotional as possible when it comes to me. Because I want her to be extra when it comes to me as a baby. Because that's what I'm gonna need as a baby.
Yeah.
I don't need her to be as practical. I need her to be emotional. I need her to, when she hears my cry, she overreacts to it and she comes to my rescue, right? I don't want her to be like, oh, well, he ate 2.3 hours ago, so it's really another 0.25.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
No, emotions should be expressed.
But I think that's where it comes in. So I think what I was getting to is like, that's where the understanding or I don't want to say training, but that's the thing I can think of right now is what I try to do now with my youngest. Like, okay, yes, I give you, do a minute.
Right.
Be mad, cry, whatever. Do what you got to do. Get that out. Now come to me. Let's talk about it. Let's figure out the why. Because most of the crap that we go through is caused by us. And once we figure that out, we are our biggest obstacles in the majority of things in our life. I mean, some things we can't control, but the majority of the crap is we do. We started it. We were the architects of it all. By whatever decision we made, by not doing something, by holding back on doing something, whatever it is. So I think by having that You're going to be emotional. You're a lady. You're going to be emotional. That is never going to change, right? Does that emotion define you? It shouldn't.
It shouldn't. No.
It shouldn't. You shouldn't allow that to take over everything, and then you make a bad decision.
Right.
You know, so that's the difference, because most people don't have that.
Right.
And they just are allowed to go with that, and then they're called B words and all these different things, and then that sends them on another emotional thing or whatever, and then the cycle, continues. So eventually, somebody has to stop it. Somebody eventually has to say, that's enough.
Right.
And that's where we come in.
That's the balance. That is the balance.
That's where we come in.
That's the balance.
That's where we come in. So, like if you, like I said, if you see your baby being emotional, be like, hey, man, that's fine. But when you're ready to talk to me, just let me know. Because then she's already, when you say that she's going to be calm. Because daddy is he's not mirroring my upsetness. Yeah. That too, I think, plays in it.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you yelling and I'm yelling back, like, how does that help?
It doesn't help. It doesn't.
So,
yeah, right.
So, yeah. But, now, good luck with that dream, though. That's a good dream.
That's not a dream, man.
That
it's
is
not
a
dream. It's not a dream.
Fantasy.
You can have them. I said you can have emotions. It's just
let them out.
As
far as a lady?
But your decisions, I feel like you have to have firm decisions that may not. Listen, it could be a 20%, 20% emotion in it, right? Just not 100% emotion.
Okay.
You see what I'm getting at?
I got you.
So yeah, I have no problem with that. That's all. Just guiding that, because.
But that's
emotional. Yes, it's gonna take time, and even for us on the flip side, for boys, guys, we need to actually understand emotions and be able to accept and this put them in a little bit of a decision.
Well, I think that as dads, it's important for us to show our emotions to our kids, both boys and girls, and I think by showing them that we have emotions, that we and how we deal with them, gives them permission silently to have those same type of reactions, right? If you never saw your dad cry, or like first time I saw my dad cry was when my granddad died. I think I was 16. You know what I mean? Like, that's 16 years. I've never seen you ever. Like, there's never been any occasion in his life ever where he's been sad ever, right? I didn't know. He didn't cry in front of me.
You don't know. Yeah, right.
But not that I'm constantly weeping in front of my kids.
Yeah.
But if there is something that moves me, if there's something that moves me to tears, I'm not going to.
You're crying too much.
Listen, I'm not going to go run in the closet and hide. If they do something to make me proud, I'm going to cry in front of you. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you if I'm sad. I'm going to cry about it. I'm going to yell about it.
It's probably going to make them sad when they see you cry. That's the thing.
Because we share it. We're together. This is our thing, right? Emotional intelligence. Yeah, it's a strong ending point, bro. Yeah, it's a hell of an end. This has been an incredible episode. I knew it would be. I already knew it would be. I knew from the topic out that it's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. It's going to be fire. It's going to go viral. Over an hour.
Yeah.
Wasn't even hard.
Wasn't hard at all.
Wasn't even. We've been talking. I've been here for about 3 hours. His wife is about to kick me out. She's actually tired of seeing me. But so this is good. Episode 3.
We made it.
What do you want to add to it?
It's great being a girl dad.
It is great to be a girl dad for sure. Great to be a dad.
Yeah.
Great to be a black dad. Yeah. No offense to any other dads, but I've only been a black dad, so I don't know.
Only been a black dad.
I've only been a black dad. I don't know how to be any other ones, but I'm sure there's similar experiences to be shared across all ethnic backgrounds. So episode 3 is in the books. Please join us for the next one. I don't know what we're going to talk about next time. It's going to be great.
I don't know. Surprise. We have to find out, man.
It's going to find out. So join us next time. Episode 4 coming up soon. My name is Dwayne. This is Jabari. This is Just 2Dadz, a podcast. Peace.
We out. No outro.
No outro on that thing.